At historic summit between Japan and South Korea, Trump's presence looms large. Japanese Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba shakes hands with South Korean President Lee Jae-myung after meeting the press following their talks in Tokyo on August 23, 2025. Tokyo, Japan. History was made this weekend. South Korean President Lee Jae-myung made his first overseas trip for bilateral diplomacy with stops in both Washington, D.C. and Tokyo. But unlike his predecessors, Lee Jae-myung didn't visit the United States first. Instead, his first stop was Japan, South Korea's former colonizer. Following a bilateral summit between Lee Jae-myung and Japan's Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba, Tokyo and Seoul issued their first joint statement in 17 years, pledging deeper cooperation on AI, trade, and denuclearizing the Korean Peninsula. They also announced the plans to launch a joint task force to tackle shared challenges, including aging populations and declining birth rate. But what stood out most from this summit wasn't what was signed, it was the shared smile and warm word between the two leaders. This is our second meeting, and I feel as if we're close friends, South Korea's Lee Jae-myung said about his Japanese counterpart. The striking shift in tone from enmity to friendliness is impossible to ignore. Japan's colonial occupation of Korea, which lasted over 3 decades in the first half of the 20th century, has long cast a shadow over relations. In 2023, Lee Jae-myung criticized his predecessor for attending the landmark summit with Japan, calling him a puppet of Tokyo. But since taking office 2 months ago, Lee Jae-myung has struck a more pragmatic tone. On August 15, South Korea's Liberation Day from Japanese rule, he referred to Japan as the indispensable partner for economic growth. This recent thaw in relations isn't just about the diplomacy, it's largely a reflection of what's going on west of the Pacific. Both countries are now navigating a volatile relationship with Washington, where U.S. President Donald Trump's unpredictable foreign policy has thrown once stable alliances into question. His imposed tariff demanded greater defense spending and pushed both nations to pay more for hosting U.S. troops. Now, South Korea's once iron, ironclad alliance with the U.S. long mantra of the State Department is far from sturdy. The problem is that Trump's erratic and transactional diplomacy is unnerving for everybody. Jeffrey Kingston, a professor of Asian studies at Tokyo's Temple University, told CNN. I think after betrayal of Ukraine, I think a lot of America's allies are wondering what does American security guarantee really mean. In Japan, Russia's invasion of Ukraine is often seen as the cautionary tale. Former Prime Minister Fumio Kishida famously warned Ukraine today could be East Asia tomorrow. Both Tokyo and Seoul are increasingly anxious about North Korea's growing nuclear arsenal and its deepening ties with Russia in its invasion of Ukraine, where North Korean soldiers are gaining the advantage of a first-hand battlefield experience. Another looming concern for Japan and South Korea is the potential conflict over Taiwan, with China stepping up military activity near the island. Fears are rising that tensions could spiral into conflict right on their doorstep. Should that happen, will the US step in? Or, as seen during the recent Alaska summit, might Trump or the future US president try to strike a deal with the autocratic leader without Taiwan in the room? Between security concerns trumps the trade war has also rattled both economies. While Japan and South Korea have each signed deals to delay the worst tariff task hikes on auto parts, steel, and aluminum are hitting hard in economies built around the auto and tech industries. At the same time, both leaders must carefully manage ties with Beijing, the top trading partner for both countries. While neither embraces Trump's confrontational stance toward Xi Jinping, they must still navigate Washington's demand without compromising their economic interest. Having already met Trump face to face, Ishiba may have offered Lee Jae-myung advice on how to manage the president's mercurial style. During the February visit to the White House, the Japanese leader flattered Trump, saying, "I was so excited to see such a celebrity on television." Though Ishiba's tone shifted after months of tariff pressure and mounting domestic criticism over the lack of a signed deal, Trump, he later said, is not a normal person. He is someone who changed the rules. On one early obstacle in this budding partnership with South Korea may be Ishiba's likely resignation. The Prime Minister is under mounting pressure domestically to step down after his party lost its majority in both houses of parliament. If he does step aside, it will be critical that he pass this rare spirit of cooperation to his successor to ensure the newfound goodwill between the nations continues to grow.